What's going on, guys? Getting all set up here. All right, let's talk some awesome Raider football. I'm not depressed. You're depressed. Let's see. Okay. All right. So what's going on, everybody? Just wanted to talk to Raider Nation for a second. Let's break down this game. The Raiders lost 17-15 to the Washington Redskins, and it was a heartbreaker. That one hurt bad. You could smell it though. It was like there was a movie called The Legend of the Bagger Vance a while back with Will Smith as like this caddy, right? He had kind of superpowers. It was implied, right, that he was able to kind of predict things or just have a special way he looked about stuff. There was one time where it was like 75 degrees, beautiful day in Georgia, and he just looks up and he's like, storm's coming. Everyone's like, good one. That was what happened when the Raiders kicked that final field goal to be ahead 15-14 against Washington. I just knew they were going to lose that game because they are that team. And we can get into whose fault it is, whose fault it isn't, who should be in a better scenario, who we need to move on from, because I will get into all of that. But why don't the Raiders ever win these close, low-scoring games? You know, they just never do. The low scoring. I feel like when it's a shootout, I kind of like the Raiders. Like the Raiders seem to kick ass in shootouts, honestly. They seem to kind of like have the edge when they're rolling. But when it's sluggish, when it's just an absolute slop fest out there, bad football, very Thursday night football-ish. When it's that style of game, they just don't seem to win. They never seem to be the team that wakes up at the end of the game. And it's odd because I'm watching a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Pittsburgh Steelers have a bad quarterback, legit a bad quarterback. You can say whatever you will about Derek Carr, but he's better than Ben Roethlisberger right now. They found a way to beat the Ravens. I understand the Ravens missed a 2-point conversion, choked it away at the end, but the Steelers tend to win those games, right? And I think where your talent really comes out is when you have to win the game ugly, right? It's not when you need the Michael Jordan play. I mean, yeah, that helps too. But I think the real way your talent comes out on a team where you could tell, hey man, we've been drafted for a long time, drafting well, and you're coaching. Coaching's a big thing. I don't think the Raiders have good coaching right now at all. At really I'd say at any aspect, right? I don't think at any aspect they have like great coaching. You could argue Gus Bradley's done an okay job, but I don't think he's been anything special, anything to write home about. But you see where the Mike Tomlins come in, even the John Harbaughs, even though they lost that game, John Harbaugh put his team in position to win that game. Both of those coaches know how to win an ugly game. And I think that's what keeps the Raiders out of the playoffs sometimes, even in a mathematical sense. Look at this year. There were 3 very ugly games that the Raiders lost. And I don't mean blowouts. I'm talking New York Giants, Chicago Bears, and in this recent Redskins game. 3 games that I thought they could have won ugly in those. Yeah, let's say you only win 2 of them, or even one of them. You're in a whole different scenario than you are right now. So everybody wants these big shootouts, these big blowout games, but you do have to be able to win ugly in the NFL, and the Raiders can't. And that goes to show that you need to tear it all down, right? And I will get to that, but you need to tear it all down. But let's look at whose fault this game was, because I found this to be an interesting discourse on Raiders Twitter. By interesting, I mean clawing my own eyes out. interesting, almost like an art movie where the person's like self-harming and it's like an art exhibit. Like, oh man, that's good. That's what I was doing, because I some of the takes I saw were awful. And I don't even disagree with either one, but it's just the fact that you're just hearing people's same narrative they've had for 10 years apply to one game, and it's like they're not all the games apply to your overall view of the team and what needs to change. And okay, so let's say this. Let's make a deal, Raider Nation, because some people are still arguing about this, but I think a good compromise is there's two people I blame, two like players on the team that I blame for the game not being won by the Raiders on Sunday. I think it's Derek Carr and I think it's Trayvon Merrick. And people are going to say it's not fair to blame Trayvon Merrick. Okay, I disagree. You have to catch that interception. You did everything right. You jumped the route. It was a bad throw. You smelled blood in the water. You went and got the ball. You were in perfect position to catch the ball, but you didn't catch the ball. They were in field goal range. Trayvon Merrick would have scored on that play. And even if he didn't, it wouldn't have mattered. The game would have been over. You have to catch the ball. And that's not something, rookie moment. Not really. You catching the ball is something you've been learning since you were a kid. I understand it's tougher on defense to catch a ball than for wide receiver, but he jumped that route. That ball did not just sneak up on him. And to be fair, like, you can watch other games that don't involve the Raiders, and there will be people who will watch that final play of the game that wins and loses the game and be like, well, that's on that person, because they lost the game. The guy who committed PI at the end of the game, the quarterback who threw the interception, the this and that. And apply that to the Raiders for this game. It does not mean that you think Trayvon Merrick's a bad player. I actually think he's going to be a really nice player in the league. I've been impressed with what he's done. There's a reason you don't see a lot of deep completions against the Raiders. It's because he's back there. The scheme too, but he's back there. He's playing that true ball hawk safety. I mean, he's been in position to make picks. He hasn't been catching them. And, all right, we'll take that over, the Michael Huffs and people like that getting torched. But, it is what it is. The game was on the line and a play needed to be made. There was a gift thrown by Taylor Heineke and it was not received by the Raiders. The Raiders said, I simply cannot take this. Do you have the receipt? And okay. But on the flip side, people going, okay, Glenn will never blame Derek Carr for anything. No, I blame Derek Carr for the reason that game was even close. Real talk. I didn't think he played well at all in that game. I was looking at his PFF grade and it was a little bit higher than I thought. And I'm not a PFF hater. I do like to make fun of them, but I thought that he didn't play well in that game. I thought he missed a wide open Deshaun Jackson early in the game. So I haven't seen the clip, but it looks like Zay Jones was streaking down the field on the play where he tried to thread the needle to Foster Moreau. It was just a really nice play by Holcomb, the linebacker. I actually thought that was a pretty good throw. It was just broken up. Then I think he missed Zay Jones in the end zone again. Another kind of tougher throw, but a throw you want to make. It's a throw you want to make, especially when we know you struggle in the red zone like that. And that's the reason. I mean, Derek Carr could have won that game a lot before that. And these slow starts are inexcusable. I think they're absolutely on him. Maybe he doesn't have. What am I trying to say here? Maybe he doesn't have the best wide receivers. Maybe he doesn't have the best. Maybe losing Henry Ruggs and John Gruden through the year, which I don't believe losing John Gruden hurt Derek Carr, but you never know. I'm not on the sidelines. I think that you still have to do better than that, especially when you can watch the film and see that there are some open guys on plays. And, they are running the ball a little bit better. I mean, it's not great, but they are running the ball better than they have all year. I think they've been running the ball better. They've been running play action. I mean, it looks okay. The offensive line's not great. I'll give them that. But there are some blitzes where it seems like the Raiders have like a huge play dialed up every time for a blitz. And then they have a check down or like a very quick pass when the team is sitting back in coverage. It never seems like they have the right beater play for the coverage, or what the defensive front's throwing at them. Because every time there's a blitz, I feel like the blitz never gets there that fast. against the Raiders, especially similar. But I feel like they're waiting for some huge deep completion to happen when really it's like, man, just hit that blitz beater, man. I don't know. But yeah, it's true. I don't think Derek Carr played well in that game. It's true that the reason it was even close was because of him. But that being said, catch that ball, catch that ball, and we're debating Derek Carr. We're debating him, but we're happy that we're 7-5. Now we're talking about blowing the whole thing up, which I am. So I wanted to get to a couple of mailbag questions here. You guys asked me some really good questions. I'm really excited about that. Let's go to the post here. You can follow me on Twitter at Glen Rockney if you don't already, but I'm pretty sure you already do if you're here. Right, first one's from Tier at Tier Raiders 22. If the new head coach and GM want to change at quarterback, which teams do you think would trade for him and what pick? Also, do you think Carr actually retires if traded? Also, the Raiders 2022 QB will be all right. Well, it's tough to say who the next quarterback is going to be because I don't know who's going to have a falling out with their old team, who's going to be available. But I don't think Carr is the Raiders quarterback next year. I don't. This is the first time in a while that I think he's absolutely gone. First time since maybe that first Gruden year that I thought, okay, maybe they might move on. But no, he's gone. There's no reason to keep him, honestly, because you're going to need to retool. Now, if there's a new head coach and GM, I also think Carr's gone because I think Carr still has value. I think you can get a late first round pick from a team that is almost there, maybe an early playoff exit team, because a few of those teams need quarterbacks. Pittsburgh is going to need a quarterback. I'd argue that, well, not argue, it's objective. Saints are going to need a quarterback. I mean, unless they re-sign Jameis, but I don't know. I think they're going to try to get a little bit more next year. Get some more. They should have a healthy Michael Thomas back next year. They'll have Alvin Kamara still. Good offensive line. Maybe they can throw some resources somewhere else because Derek Carr's contract is still really good for a starting level quarterback. Mid-tier to top 10 at times guy, depending on which way the wind blows, apparently, because he's very inconsistent. But I think if you get a new head coach and a new GM in there, they're going to want to get rid of him because you're going to want the most assets possible to work with. Because it's assumed that they're going to rebuild. Whoever comes in is going to want to rebuild, but you're going to want to have the most to play with. You're going to want to have a lot of cap space to play with, which they already have, and probably will get near. The cap's going up next year. I think it's supposed to be 200 million, and I haven't looked at what the Raiders are expected to have, but I'd imagine it's high 70s, low 80s, like it always is, because we don't give anybody second contracts on this team. That's how it eats up your cap space. And then they're going to probably get off contracts like Littleton, get off of contracts like Kwiatkowski, get off of contracts like, I guess that's it for now, but they'll get out of a lot of contracts to get them even more. And if they trade Carr, that frees up 19 million or 20 million, whatever it is. You're going to be able to, you want a lot to work with because you want to plant the seeds early in your administration, right? With the GM. So, all right, he had a 3-part question. So let me see if I make sure. Do you think Carr actually retires if traded? That's funny. People have been saying that. I don't know why people took Derek Carr seriously. Of course, he's not going to retire. He would never retire. He doesn't. Okay. He likes being a Raider. He likes being a Raider because he has gotten, what is this, year 9, year 8, whatever the hell it is that he's had. He's gotten that long with a team. If you spend that long with a team, regardless of wins or losses, you're probably going to feel some sort of like familiarity with that team and feel like, wow, I really don't feel like I could play anywhere else because I haven't played anywhere else. But that's assuming that the team wants to keep you. The minute the team decides to get rid of you, I doubt Derek Carr is going to be like, oh, I love them so much I could never play for another team. No, they just traded you. Like they just traded you. And I don't think other teams are going to believe that either. I don't believe that one bit. I think Derek Carr is going to want to stay in the league. Especially if he, like I said, I think the teams that trade for him are going to be pretty good teams. So I think he's going to get a chance. I think it could be a win-win. right? Like I think the Raiders could get a late first round pick, maybe early second or something, but I figure it's going to be a playoff worthy team. That's why I say late first. Plus you have maybe a lower ceiling quarterback class coming out that maybe these teams don't want to start over with. But yeah, Carr's not going to retire, man. He's not gonna retire out of that. I mean, yeah, I could be wrong. Stranger things have happened, but he's a relatively healthy guy. And you never know, man. The Saints might start like a Carr stand cult out there. I mean, they've had Drew Brees, so maybe not. We're starving so much. That's why the Carr stands are there. But okay, you had one more part to your question. 2022 Raiders quarterback will be. I'm gonna say Matt Ryan. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a veteran. I don't think they're gonna draft one. Could be wrong. It's still so far away, but I'm gonna say Matt Ryan or somebody of that sort, like a old veteran. And I don't know. It won't be anything super inspiring, but I think the smart move to do would be not to take a quarterback in this year's class. If you get two first, take best player available, because you could pretty much add somebody at any position on the Raiders and not feel like you're being redundant. You could add another pass rusher. You could add an interior rusher. You could add a linebacker to this team. You could add corners to this team. You're probably going to want to move on from Jonathan Abram. You can add a safety. I wouldn't there, I guess, but you're going to need some offensive line help. You're going to need wide receivers, unfortunately. Might, you know, I don't know. I wouldn't draft a running back first round, but they're going to probably have a need there too, honestly. So I would say it's going to be some very uninspiring name. Like, well, because the Falcons are going to move on from Matt Ryan. I mean, there's no way they keep him next year. So yeah, that's what I think. I wouldn't be super happy about it. Yeah, very Matt Shabian. I totally agree. Totally agree. I'm not. That's just not like I want Matt Ryan. I just think it's going to be somebody like that. Jameis Winston, somebody of that nature that's been in the league a while. Something when they sign him, you're going to be like, what? It's going to be like that. But yeah, I see a veteran coming in next year, and them just loading up at skill positions. This is what I actually want them to do that. And maybe it's Mariota, but I think with the new administration, I'm not thinking that that they're gonna keep Mariota around for that, because a lot more change. People underestimate how much changes when you get a new regime in there, right? So usually they clean house, especially if it's not a playoff team, which most of the time it isn't. All right, next question: should the Raiders hire? This is from Ayo Aaron. He's already got his name changed to Raiders Rebuild Year 20. That's where we are in the season, folks. Must be December. Should the Raiders hire GM or head coach first? Which candidates would you like for either direction they take? First part of that question, absolutely GM first. GM's the thing I care about the most. I care about that more than quarterback and head coach at the moment, because you know that if you've listened to this show for any amount of time, my biggest gripe with the Raiders is that they've blown 5 first-round picks in the last 2 years. I think they're actually a playoff team this year if 2 out of those 5 are on the team and are hits, right? I'm talking hits, not just a 3 yards a carry running back, no. Or a box safety that makes a nice tackle every once in a while. It has a bullshit penalty called on him. Still mad about that, by the way. I'm talking about like 2 hits, a starter, an okay player, and a miss. If that's all that happened with those 5 first-round picks, it would be insane. Like, they'd be in such a better spot right now, even with the struggles that they've had. They'd have more depth. So I need a GM. I want to hire I don't know a name. I'm scared. I was talking to Marcus Johnson. I don't know if he said this on Tape Don't Lie at all. I haven't watched their latest stuff yet, but he was scaring me because we're both not real big Mark Davis guys. There's another question on him, so I won't say my Mark Davis rant here, but I think that I don't want him to just turn on ESPN and be like, Mike Tannenbaum, I remember him. Cool, let's bring him in. Even like Louis Riddick, like, okay, we don't know if Louis Riddick's good or not, but I don't I'd be real skeptical of Mark Davis if he makes 3 straight TV hires. I'll be very skeptical if that happens, because that goes to show me that you don't know how to actually find somebody without turning on the TV. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'd like to get like just find a scout, find a team that you love the way they draft, right? Where you love the way they draft, and find a scout from that department. I'm down to elevate a guy like that. You have guys that help you work the cap. The salary cap is a whole department with the GM. It's not just the GM. You have that. And I'm pretty sure I'd rather have a guy hit on draft picks than free agency. I'm sorry. I mean, you want free agents to hit, but I really, really want. Oh, somebody said Gardner Minshew. I could see that. Absolutely see that. It's going to be somebody like that, right, for the Raiders quarterback. So I see you, Aaron. He had the answer to his own question. I like that. He's like, I got one. And yeah, so with the GM, I just raid the scouting department of a team you like. Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, Kansas City Chiefs. Although I actually don't like the way the Chiefs draft all that much. So maybe that's not the best way to look at it. But there's some teams out there that draft well. And that's where you have to do this. You have to do this. Rich Gannon. What's going on, man? You okay, Rich Gannon? No, we're not. Please don't hire Rich Gannon. Because I'm worried. Who is advising Mark Davis in this? And I've some people have said, oh, it's going to be Charles Woodson, Marcel Reese, and all that stuff. That's fine. Are they GMs? Because I don't think they are. I think they know how to play football. But I need Mark Davis to connect with football minds, front office guys. Hire somebody right now as a consultant, like a real consultant, football guy. Because I think what Mark Davis wants to do is hand the team over to somebody. I think he enjoys being the owner of the Raiders. I don't think he likes doing any of the work. He's not like his dad in that sense. I don't really get a lot of Al vibes from Mark. I think people force that a lot onto him. I just don't get those vibes from him. So, anywho, next question. Oh, for head coach, I didn't answer head coach candidates that I like. I like Kellen Moore. I know some people are a little soured on him, and I think it's fair to say that he has a pretty loaded offense that's kind of stalling right now. But I like the plays they run. I like a smart offensive mind. I think it's safe when you have. I mean, even look at guys like Zach Taylor, who I don't think is that good, but he's a decent enough offensive mind to create a good offense. And the Bengals have hit on their high picks, and it's working out well. So a lot of these defensive guys, I'm not a huge fan of. Brandon Staley's doing a decent job over there, but these young defensive guys coming in the league, it just doesn't seem like it's working as well. The Brian Flores, and stuff. Although Miami's red hot right now, so what do I know? But yeah, I'd like to do that. I think Mark's going to go. I think he's going to try to go the Harbaugh route. Now Harbaugh might win a national championship this year. I mean, I'm not saying I don't predict them to. I wouldn't bet on them doing it, but they are in the race to do so. And if that happens, I don't think Michigan ever lets him leave, nor does he probably even want to. And so yeah, I don't know if that's even on the table. Harbaugh would be one of the only college coaches that I like, honestly. But yeah, I like Kellen Moore. Byron Leftwich would intrigue me, although I don't know how much Tom Brady's doing there in Tampa and how much Byron Leftwich is doing. I think that's something you never really find out. I just don't want that to be an Adam Gase situation. Besides that, it's tough. I mean, we still do have a few games left in the season, so we're not really sure who's going to be available. I always do like giving a young guy I like the shocking young guy hires, man. I think they end up working. I think that's what connects with players nowadays. But I think Mark Davis is going to go for an OG again. And I'm not sure how I like that. All right, next question. I believe this is the Mark Davis question. Oh, it's from Will. Will, you're in the chat too. What's the best option for the future of the team, and tell me why it's forcing Mark Davis out. You don't have to answer that. I'm just being an idiot. Hey, you know what? I'm going to answer that. Mark Davis. Yeah, he's. I don't know. Is he the worst owner in football? I don't know, because I think if he was more hands on, he'd be worse. Honestly, I'm glad he at least was like, here, John Gruden, take the. I didn't like that he did it to John Gruden, but at least he wasn't trying to overbear on John Gruden and like him make the picks and stuff. I think that's the only way it could have been worse. But yeah, I wish he would sell the team. He won't, though. I don't think he will. I wish he would sell to a better ownership group or something. But yeah, he just got that stadium in Vegas. I don't think he did that just to sell the team. Maybe he is. Maybe he's pumping him up a little bit to sell him, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, he's got to hit it. He's got to hire the good GM. He'll be able to. I just talked about Leftwich, so I just don't know how much Brady's doing. I don't know how much Brady's doing there, and I don't know how much Leftwich is doing there. But hey, I mean, Tampa's offense is good. I mean, I enjoy the way they play offense. That's another team I would raid their front office. I would raid Tampa's front office, find out who's behind the scenes of some of these picks. Jason Light's really good GM. He's crushed the draft for them. I'm talking crushed the draft. You might even say, I don't know if there's any team that's at least on early picks hitting more than Tampa recently. I think that's a way to go. But yeah, Mark, I wish Mark would get rid of the team. He's not going to. But if he is able to make the right hire at GM, he's going to make his job a lot easier. He's going to be able to kick back and be the funny guy, everybody, the endearing, funny, ugly guy on TV that everybody makes fun of, but he has a winning team. Maybe that era happens if he makes the right hire at GM. Okay, who's the more conservative? This is from forever Oakland at Oakland Raider 52. Who's the more conservative pussy, Gruden or Bisaccia? I call him Rich Bitch Sasha, because man, that guy is scared of going for it. But guess what? I'd like to toot my own horn. I called it a long time ago. I said, look, Bisaccia, whatever it is, what it is. This is right when they were transitioning into the Bisaccia era, about 5-6 games into the year. I said that Rich Bisaccia is a special teams coach, and he's going to lean on his special teams. He's not going to go for it. He's not gonna 4th and 3. I saw they didn't go for it on 4th and 3 after running the ball and stuff. And they've been doing many such cases, honestly. I think that I still think it's a Gruden hires guys that do Gruden things, right? Do you think that's fair? You think that's fair, Raider Nation, to say? I think that's fair. When Gruden's not going to hire some, shotgun crazy guy. Like, Gruden's conservative. He wants guys to operate his conservative offense. The only guy who's not conservative is Rod Marinelli, who does pass rushing every single play. He doesn't coach his guys to run the ball, but originally it was Paul Guenther. And Gus Bradley, I should say now, but Gus Bradley's a kind of conservative defensive coordinator. Rod Marinelli's the only guy who tells the defense to turn it loose, defensive line, right? Other than that, I believe that Rich Bisaccia took over a 3-2 team and said, look, what John Gruden was doing here was working, which I disagree with, but what John Gruden was doing was working, and we're going to keep doing it. Because not much did change from a coaching strategy. There's not quite as many stupid challenges that Gruden would make, but other than that, it's kind of the same, right? I like Olsen more than Gruden, although Olsen's kind of wearing thin on me. I do like that Olsen will do some play action on first down. Looks like the run game's a lot better right now than what Gruden had it at the beginning of the year, but still, it's Gruden. I'd say Bisaccia is taking conservative to a whole new level, because I think he loves putting his special teams guys on the field. But yeah, no, I think this all stems from John Gruden. We need to move away from that, become a little more analytically sound. Tier asks, what's your opinion on Dabo Sweeney being the next head coach? No. God, no, actually, is my formal official take on that. I don't want any college coaches, man. They don't work. Matt Rule sucks. Nick Saban, NFL sucks. It just doesn't work. I mean, yeah, you get your obvious Bill Walsh, you get your obvious ones like Pete Carroll's been good. For the most part, these college coaches, when they come to the NFL, they don't get to recruit their talent. They pick from the same pool everybody else does the same weekend. They don't get that whole offseason of going to their houses, meeting their families. So their charm doesn't really work there, because half the time that's why they're good coaches, because they can recruit and charm people and stuff. You can't coach millionaires the same way you coach 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. You can't, right? These guys have money now. They are their own business. And NFL coaches seem to understand that now. That's kind of why I want to go the younger route, because that is just the mentality of the NFL players now. And you don't want to get some old fossil in there to tell these guys to do up downs and shit. Yeah, Dabo's a hard no on that. I mean, Clemson sucks, dude. Are we going to hire him after his worst Clemson season? Yeah, no, I'm out on that. I don't. I would much rather take a defensive, like a linebackers coach from somebody's team that of just a great defense, or offensive coordinator of a great team, and just being like, you know what, you're my coach now. That's way less of a risk to me than bringing in a big time college name. Harbaugh's done it before, and I thought he actually did pretty well in the pros. He had a bunch of his players get arrested for the Niners, and then the Kaepernick situation, a bunch of crazy shit happened. And Trent Baalke was not drafting well for them. Harbaugh is pretty good. That it would intrigue me a little bit, but I wouldn't be loving it. Trade for Sean Payton. Let's not give up picks for a coach, man. First off, you have to have Sean Payton want to come here. You don't trade for a coach who doesn't want to come here. Even if they still do it, it's yeah, exactly. It's yeah. All right, next question. Lincoln Kennedy is from K1 Hayes at Mr. Sir Raider. Lincoln Kennedy said it's time to start Mariota. Do you agree? No, and here's why. It's not that Carr's playing well. It's that I need Carr to play well for the rest of the year, because trade value. You don't want to bench the guy. You don't want to bench the guy right now. Now, I will say, if you're still trying to win these games, which why the hell not, right? Why the hell not? If you're still trying to win these games, Mariota was on the field for like a series in that game, and it looked cool. Was he the quarterback? A little bit, but it looked good. Now, I understand that's a little gimmicky, but mix him in. I get that. I get that. I know people want to see it. I know people want to see that, but I don't know. And what does it do? I don't know. I think it's going to be I think it's going to end up being, Carr for the rest of the year. And I hope Carr puts up some good numbers, so teams decide to come get him from us and give up a first. That's what I'm hoping, because that's what this is about right now. So last thing I want to say is I am not completely down on the Raiders. I don't think that they are a complete disaster. Okay, they're not a complete disaster if you make the right hires, right? There's some talent on this team. Now, the early round draft misses are inexcusable, and I want everybody who was involved in those, Mike Mayock, John Gruden, everybody else, I want them gone, because you botched them 5 times. I will say that again, 5 times, 4 times, right? Because Henry Ruggs, we didn't know, but okay, still at the end of the day, right? Because they were claiming they were drafting character guys while this happened. And all right, so there is some talent on this team. Nate Hobbs, pretty good. I'm gonna have to see him when he plays man. It's not quite the same. There were a couple plays where on man he got worked, but in a zone scheme, he's like a linebacker that can cover. It's nice. Great tackler. Trayvon Merrick, I was just, I dogged him, but he made it was a bad play. I'm sure he's dogging himself, because that's the kind of guy he seems like he is. Malcolm Kuntz, first career sack. Let's see some more of him down the stretch, because that was a really impressive bull rush from a guy I didn't think could bull rush anybody. That's not really what he was known for at Buffalo. And Divine Diablo. I thought he looked really nice. Thought he held up well in the run game. Thought he made some okay plays in coverage, but I'd like to see more of him out there. See what you got in him. You don't have to play Corey Littleton. You're not obligated to. Probably going to get rid of him in the offseason, I would think. They're not that far off. Now, offensively, it's a little bleak. It's a little bit bleak, and you're going to need to retool that. But offensively, man, if you are able to go into the draft with 2 first-round picks, which I hope they are by getting rid of Carr, you can get some offensive linemen. You can get some, another wide receiver. You could get, a lot. You could get a lot going. I mean, maybe you do find the quarterback. Maybe I'm tripping, and there are some good quarterbacks in this class around the time I would expect the Raiders to be picking. But other than Kenny Pickett, none of them really inspired me to where I'm like, I want to hitch to that wagon for the next few years. Like, it's not really inspiring me. I'd rather wait another year personally. So yeah, I think I think it's not that far off if you make the right hires. I don't think it's a desolate. It's not Houston Texans. This is not that situation. There's some guys on this team, right? You got a couple good pass rushers. You got some young talent at the line at the second level, some young talent at the third level, at the back end on defense. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. I just wanted to get some thoughts into the air on that. Thanks for all the questions. Really good. Appreciate you guys for tuning in too. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already. I'm at Glen Rockney on Twitter.